In previous lesson, motion and measurement of distance, we studied about some measurement and standard unit of measurements. Now, we know the standard unit of measurements for measuring the length and distance. So, can you tell how can we perform the measurement activities in standard unit? Let me tell you that before doing the measurement activities in standard scale and measure in SI units, we need to know the correct way of measuring length and distance. So students, today we will study about correct measurements of length and measuring the length of a curved line. Now, we got the point about the necessity to measure length. What would you do if you want to get your shirt stitched? First, you need to buy an unstitched piece of cloth for shirt. So for this, you will go to a fabric shop. Then, you will go to tailor to get a stitched shirt. You often see that the salesman at fabric shop use a big steel rod to measure the length of the cloth. However, the tailor use a plastic measuring tape. So students, can you tell why do they measure length in different ways? Let me tell you, people use tools that fit their requirements. So students, let us try an activity which you can perform with your friend. Take a piece of cloth and try to measure the length of cloth, both of you with your arm lengths. Now, if I ask you to tell me the exact difference in the length of cloth measured by your arm length and your friend's arm length, how would you measure the difference? You would probably use your ruler. Now tell me, what else can you measure using ruler? Your answer would probably be that you use it to measure the length of all sorts of things like your notebook, chart paper for craft work or the length of line in your geometry class. Now suppose you have to measure the heights of your classmates. Wouldn't it be tedious to do with your ruler? Besides, it may also lead inaccuracy. So, what is the another suitable way to measure the height of your classmates? You could consider a measuring tape. The measure of length and type of an object whose length is to be measured determines the kind of measuring tool one can use. Now, we know the standard scale and measuring tool for measurement of length and distance. So students, can you tell what is the correct way of taking a measurement of length? Now, let us perform an activity to know how to measure. Ask your friends to stand with his back against a wall. Mark above his head on the wall with help of scale and a marker. Take the scale and measure from the floor to mark on the wall. Record your observations in a notebook. Ask your other friends to measure the same distance. Record the observation in a notebook. In this activity, we observe that the same distance measured by different peoples gives different values. From this activity, we notice that the measurement taken by different people may be close to each other, but not exactly equal, even though they used a standard scale. So students, can you tell why there is difference in measurement by different students? This difference in the reading is due to error in measurement, which include not marking the point exactly at top of the head, not using the meter scale in proper manner. So students, we see that how to measure length accurately using the meter scale. We use wooden or plastic scale in day-to-day work. It is marked in centimeters and millimeters. Now, we use the meter scale to measure the length of table. Place the meter scale on the table such that the zero mark on the scale coincides with the end of the table. The scale should be kept straight. Mark the point on the scale that coincides with other end of the table with the help of a marker. Now students, observe the scale vertically above the end. where the mark is to be taken. If we observe from side view, it would result in errors. So students, there are some precautions to be taken while using a meter scale. Place exactly along the length to be measured. 0 point on the scale should be coincide with the starting point of the length to be measured. Our eyes must be vertically above of coincidence of scale, where the measurement is to be taken. Ensure that the ends of scale are not worn out. Measure the length of an object more than 2 times and then take the average of these measurements of accuracy. That is, accurate measurement is equal to first reading plus second reading divided by 2. In higher classes, we will learn about the importance of knowing and handling such errors in measurements. So students, now you also know that how to measure with meter scale. Now students, can you measure the curved line with meter scale? Let me tell you that we cannot measure the length of curved line like length of track, length of zigzag road, etc. directly by meter scale. To measure the length of curved line, let us perform an activity. We select a curved line and mark some reference points A to E. We fix 2 pins at both of its ends. Now, we take a cotton thread and tie a knot to the pin at the point A. We move the cotton thread along the points B, C, D and E. The thread should be neither too tight nor too loose. The thread should be made to coincide with the curved line. At E, cut the remaining part of the thread. Now, we remove the thread from A. We place the thread straight along the length of meter scale. In this activity, the thread is used to measure the length of the curved line. From this activity, the thread along the curved line gives the measurement of its length when placed along a meter scale. This gives the length of the curved line AE. We see that we need a lot of care to ensure that we are measuring length and distance correctly. And we need some standard units and devices with which we measure these distances and convey our results to others. So students, we completed the lesson. Now, we will summarize the lesson what we have learnt. We learnt about tool for measuring the length and distance in standard unit like wooden or plastic metric scale, measuring tape, etc. We learnt about how to measure the lengths of different objects and also curved line. We can recall the precautions that should be taken while measuring the straight and curved line. So students, let us discuss some questions from this lesson. What are tools used for measuring the length? Let me tell you. The wooden or plastic scale, metal scale and measuring tape are used to measure length. What is correct position of observing the scale while measuring the length, and what will happen if we observe the scale from side view? Let me tell you. We must observe the scale vertically above the end where mark is to be taken while measuring the length. But if we observe from side view, it would be result in errors. How can we measure the length of a curved line? We cannot measure the length of a curved line by the meter scale. So, with the help of thread, we can measure the length of a curved line. So students, in next lesson, we will study about moving things around us and types of motion. Thank you.